While helping a client prepare for an important interview, I noticed a small communication glitch that I tend to take for granted. This particular glitch made his responses seem a bit cold. Let's have ourselves a pocket sized pep talk because once we made a few adjustments, those answers began to sound full of warmth, and in doing so, sound a lot more natural. I'll tell you what we worked on and how it might help you.
A Pocket Size Pep Talk, the podcast that can help energize your business and your life with a quick, inspiring message. Now, here's your host, Rob Jolles.
Through the years, I've upset my share of audiences by telling them how overrated product knowledge really is. Product knowledge allows you to competently provide another individual with your solutions to their questions, but it doesn't necessarily allow you to dazzle them with your response. When you are communicating with others, a solution may show off your intellectual competence, but it doesn't necessarily show your warmth or speed of thought. For instance, a typical exchange may sound something like this. We're excited about the training you are intending to provide, but one of our concerns is making sure whatever process we put in place are fully implemented. What does your company do to help the organizations you work with adopt and utilize the solutions you provide? Ooh, that's a question I happen to enjoy answering. When a potential client asks a question like that, it shows me that the organization has its priorities in order. So I rattle off my number one answer. We have several ways of protecting your investment in this training program, and I'm referring to the following. During the training, we use real-world applications, and after the training, we offer job aids for those participants who are still learning the process we introduced during the training. Oh, and we also offer implementation workshops for management so that the managers can fully participate in the adaptation of what's being taught. How's that sound to you? To me, it actually sounds a little sterile. The answer isn't necessarily wrong, it just doesn't have any energy to it. Rather than jump right into a response, take a moment. Provide a simple, thoughtful transition. To the person you're speaking to, this shows a degree of mental agility and poise. Providing a transition into your answer also warms up the answer you're about to provide. So here's a transition in. I wish every client would ask that question. We take implementation as seriously as you do. We don't want the information we deliver to become a victim of what we call a flavor of the month solution. Now, with a transition like that, your response will sound a little warmer and more authentic. However, we're not done yet. Once the solution has been stated, it's just as important to have a strong finish. That's where a transition out becomes important. I unconsciously stumbled upon this transition during a radio interview with one particular radio host, a person who was almost as intense as I am. Because we weren't in the same studio, this radio host couldn't see me as I spoke. He had no idea when I was done with my answer to his questions. As a result, he would frequently talk over me because he just didn't know when I was finished. He didn't want to leave dead air time if I had completed my answer. To address this, I began to provide a transition that wrapped up my response when I was finished. I also learned it was effective if I slowed down a bit and dropped my voice while delivering the last couple of words. So here's an example of a transition out. So you see, Jim, to protect that investment, we aren't really treating this event as a training session. We're treating it as a cultural change within your organization, and I'm going to be here to make sure you're able to do just that. When you put the solution together with the two transitions before and after, the full response sounds something like this. I wish every client would ask that question. We take implementation as seriously as you do. We don't want the information we deliver to become a victim of what we call a flavor of the month solution. We have several ways of protecting your investment in this training program, and I'm referring to the following. During the training, we use real-world applications. After the training, we offer job aids for those participants who are still learning the process we introduced during the training. And we also offer implementation workshops for management so the managers can fully participate in the adaptation of what's being taught. So you see, Jim, to protect that investment, we aren't really treating this event as a training session. We're treating it as a cultural change within your organization. And I'm going to be here to make sure you're able to do just that. See, there's a level of personal style applied to this response, and the personality of the individual that you're communicating with certainly needs to be factored in here. But the important pieces are in place. There's a transition into your solution, a credible answer to the question, and then a transition out with a voice drop in the final few words. All of this takes less than 45 seconds. It's natural to focus on solutions, and doing so allows you to do a good job providing answers to the questions you may be asked. My suggestion is that dazzling another individual with your solution is less significant than you might imagine. When you can transition into your answer and then have a transition after you answer, you've created a transition sandwich. And by doing this, you just moved your answer from good to great.
Thanks so much for listening. If you enjoyed today's show, please rate and recommend it on iTunes, Outcast, or wherever you get your podcasts. You can also get more information on this show and Rob at jollis.com.